everyone, Chloe Butcher here. So Halloween is just around the corner. This time I'm going to show you a couple of different looks. So this is my first look. It's not any particular character, it's just some of my own ideas mixed with a few things I've seen from different pictures. So there is no title for it really. I'm just going to get cracking and you can see what you think. So I'm going to start with a MAC Pure White paint stick, which is really easy to apply. Comes a bit like a stick foundation. Now the problem I have at the moment is that I seem to have misplaced all of my sponges, so I'm going to have to do this with my fingers and see how it turns out. Now I'm going to blend it in with my fingers. So just really smoothing it out. Right, and now I'm using this MAC foundation brush to really buff it in. I want a real even coverage over the eyebrows, eyes, underneath. Everywhere. And there's me thinking that I was pale most of the time. Right, now I'm going to use this sky blue, same thing for just a blue, and I'm going to just put this tiny bit in certain areas, so kind of just underneath my cheekbones, like that, and a tiny bit round the temples as well, and maybe a tiny bit round the old jaw. So I'm just sort of really pressing it in. As you can see, well, you might not be able to see, but if you know me and my videos, they're usually fairly planned out. This one is a kind of a little bit make it up as we go along. So I'm now going to mix two powders together. One really iridescent sheeny powder from Lancôme called Poudre Superbe, and it's number 2. And also this white pigment powder from MAC. Mixed together in my hand. And now I'm just going to tap some of the excess off and start applying gently because I don't want to move too much of the colour underneath. So I'm just finishing to really buff that in, make the blue a little bit more subtle. Now using this Meron palette here, I am going to use the black, and I'm going to use this Daniel Sandler eyeshadow one brush. And I'm just going to do a bit more shading, excuse me, so just sort of dabbing it on to the brush and tapping it off on the back of my hand so there's not too much. It's better to build it up than put loads on in the first place. So I'm really just going to start by sort of shading all the areas basically that I went over with blue. So first of all down the side of my nose, right up to my eyebrow. And this is like real extreme sculpting. I've done both sides of the nose. And just underneath the cheekbones again. And I'll blend this all in afterwards. And now a little bit in my temples as well. I just sort of bringing a bit of a pointed shape down. And this is real sort of filmic, theatrical makeup when you can make it really dark. Obviously for that kind of thing it would be lit, so you really couldn't tell that it was makeup this thick. But seeing as I'm doing this at home, I don't have that kind of lighting available, but it's really to show you the possibilities. So, and finally, just along my jawline. It really depends on what you're wearing to how far down you take this, because obviously my neck looks, well, really tan now. It's quite nice. But yeah, if you've got an outfit that's slightly, you know, lower cut at the front, then it might be an idea to bring it down a bit. Right, now I'm just going to soften it all up with a blending brush. Right, now it starts getting fun, so I'm going to use a Makeup Forever palette. This one here, it can be eyeshadows or blush. I'm going to start with a yellow and then move on to the orange and really do a huge covering of eyeshadow. So, on it goes. I'm not worrying about it being too neat. Taking it all the way to the black on the nose there, right underneath. And as you can see, I'm going a long way down and a long way out. Right, so the yellow is done. I'm now going to move on to the orange, build it up. So I'm going to leave the yellow on the outside, and I'm going to make it sort of a rainbow, so levels, yellow, orange, and then more red in the middle. So on goes orange, and same thing, kind of a circle, but just a bit smaller than the yellow. Moving on to the second eye, as you can see. And finally I'm moving on to the red, so this one. That's going to be the most intense, right on my eyelid and underneath. Right, now for the lashes. I'm going to introduce you to Liz Martin's designs. These lashes are fantastic, some of my new favourites actually. They're by a friend of mine, Liz Martins, who's actually a makeup artist herself and has been named Lash Queen over the years. So she's brought out her own range along with salon systems, and the whole point of this particular set, and another one quite similar, is that you can mix and match, so you can wear them individually, you can wear one on the top, one on the bottom, you can layer all three up on top. It's really just to experiment with and create any kind of design that you want. So I'm actually going to use them all. So I've taken the first one out like this. A little trick is just to sort of soften the band. It makes it easier to put on, so just give it a little wiggle. And now I'm going to apply the glue all along the band and let it dry, get tacky for 30 seconds. So now this is dried for a little while, I'm going to lie it along my top lash line and then fix it into place. So here we go. We're just really pulling them into place, getting them as close to my lash line as possible. So there you go, first set on, looking rather cool I think. Now I'm going to use these middle ones. So I've stuck one on, now the other. Alright, you can already see the build-up that's happening. So I'm now going to add the bottom lashes, and these ones here, they're actually not a strip, they're individual. So I've already pulled the first one off. I'm just going to dip it into the glue, which I've put on the back of my hand here. And then, I'm going to use a bit of a mirror closer up so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to apply it under my own lashes on the bottom. So, in it goes. So that was a really long one, now I'm going to use a slightly shorter one to mix it up a bit. So dipping it in, allow it to go tacky for a while. You can allow longer than I am. And stick the second one on. So I've done all the bottom lashes now, which I love. There are just two really long ones left, and I'm going to put them on the top and the outer corner, so just one super long one. Yeah. Just one really long one. Look at that point. Now I'm going to use a black liner. I'm going to use this liner ink, which is a Topshop gel liner. I'm going to apply it over the top of my eyebrows, so just literally running along the top. And I don't want nice and neat, it can be quite messy, so I'm going to do that now. Just gives a bit of an extra something. Okay, the rather wild, wonky eyebrows are on, which I kind of like because it's a bit sort of creepy and weird. Now I'm going to do the mouth, which means I will have to shut up soon. So I'm going to draw a big line all the way across, a bit like a Chelsea smile, and a bit of a geisha lip in the middle. So the geisha bit's drawn, the outline, I will fill it in a minute, but first of all I'm going to do the Chelsea smile. This is MAC Ruby Woo. So there you go everybody, my first Halloween look. I hope you like it. It's probably a little bit Bride of Frankenstein or something like that. I don't really know what to call it. But if you do want any more information on it, products I used, etc., you can find me on Twitter @ChloeButcher or on my blog Oh So Chloe. Take care, happy Halloween!